Kristen Airy going to join us top of the hour, but as the Marks Dykton Open indicated here, Pacers and Racers, and we've got a racer joining us here on the Payless Liquors Hotline. A man wearing many hats here in the month of May, looking to start his 21st Indianapolis 500, and most importantly to us, selfishly, he is a P1 listener. He is the great Ed Carpenter joining us now. Ed, good morning to you.
Good morning. How's it going?
It's going great. I assume you consumed a little Pacer action yesterday, along with celebrating moms?
Yeah, it was mostly celebrating moms. My middle son, had a lacrosse game at Carmel during tip-off, so I started out just listening on my phone, and I didn't even turn it on when I got home just because it was going so well. So just listened to that one, but it was fantastic.
Now, is that karma reasons why you didn't want to turn it on? Are you a superstitious human when it comes to sporting events?
Not really. It was more like, I don't know, just it was on my phone. I started doing dishes, just, trying to make sure I finished off Mother's Day with a bang.
Look at that.
And getting ready to go for May.
The month of May is here again. Weather permitting, cars will be on the track starting tomorrow. Ed Carpenter with us on the Payless Liquors Hotline. Again, hoping for start 21 here at the 500. I guess just overall, if you look back on the last 2 decades of you in this race, what do you think the biggest changes are race-wise here at the 500 of the last 2 decades?
I would just say the closeness of it. It's always been a really, really hard race to win, but even more so now. The strength of the field, the reliability of the cars, everything has gotten just better and better, which makes it that much harder to be successful. You're pushing harder for all 500 miles. I remember early in my career, you could really pace yourself and kind of position and take your time. And there's a little bit of that now at the front, but overall the intensity level of the whole 500 miles has gone up a ton over the past 5+ years, I would say.
Ed Carpenter with us here as we get closer and closer, a couple weeks away from the Indianapolis 500. He joins us here on the Payless Liquors Hotline. Ed, can I go back, if you don't mind, to Pacers and kind of mix racing and Pacers? I assume you saw Game 3. Andrew Nembhard hit the 30-some-odd foot three, right? And that really got Go ahead.
Yeah, I saw that shot. It was awesome.
Well,
I didn't expect it to go in just the way the series had been going, but that was kind of the momentum we needed. And, I felt like with the game last night, I feel like we hopefully finally broke their spirit and can go just put ourselves in a position in New York to close it out at home.
Okay, so Game 3, it was a kind of a last-ditch effort 3 by Nembhard. What is the racing equivalent of what happened at the end of that basketball game in your sport?
That's
is it a final
J.R.
pass?
That's J.R. Hildebrand crashing in turn 4 on the last lap, and Dan Wilden winning the 500 in 2011. That's kind of what that's like.
Again, Ed Carpenter's with us here. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Practice, again, weather permitting. We'll get to Fast Friday coming up, and then quals this weekend. Ed, again, you wear multiple hats now in the month of May. What does the common fan not know about what goes into owning a car and running, 3 of them, I guess, here in the month of May?
I would just say it's underappreciated what a team sport it is. We run 2 cars full time at my team. We'll have 3 running at the Indianapolis 500 if we're successful here. And it takes a whole massive group of people to make that happen. We're right at 50 full-time people year round, doing all sorts of different things that work their butts off to get ready for Indianapolis, especially. So it's much more of a team sport, much more coordinated, much more effort year round than I think anyone realizes. It's not like we just build some cars and show up and get ready to run the 500. It's a year-long process that takes a lot of commitment from a lot of people, and we're very thankful for that.
Let's say Mother Nature cooperates this week. What's your split time versus qualifying attention versus race trim sort of attention here over the 3 practice days and then Fast Friday?
I mean, it's definitely skewed towards race trim. As you said, we practice Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then Friday. And we will be in race engine settings Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Friday, they call Fast Friday. They'll turn the engine boost up as it will stay through Saturday and Sunday. So, you're not really in qualifying configuration entirely until Friday anyway. So, we're going to be mostly working on race stuff. Probably Thursday we'll check a couple of boxes just with balance and getting a feel for a couple of our qualifying options. But, for sure the heavy emphasis for us is going to be on race running, all the way through pretty much Thursday afternoon. That's always mostly our goal, is to focus on that and be in a good spot come into Thursday, that you essentially know what you're going to be racing the following Sunday, with the exception of, making a few final decisions with those last 2 practices.
The great Ed Carpenter with us here on the Wake Up Call on this Monday, joins us on the Payless Liquors Hotline. Ed, we've had on a couple drivers, and the answer is always a little bit different. But for a local guy here, especially many years being in this race, how have all the pageantry before the race? Some drivers obviously very emotional. The singing of the songs and all the crowd and just the energy that is there. What is that pageantry like for you, and how have your emotions with the event changed over the years?
Yeah, it's for sure changed over the years. I think, it's very overwhelming when you're a rookie. You can't even really take it in. Like, there's certain things, there's plenty of things I remember from my rookie year, but I think a lot of it kind of just gets fogged over because you're so freaked out with how many people are there and just how special it is. But as time goes on, I've tried to make it a point to take in more and more of those festivities because, we are extremely lucky and blessed to be able to do what we do. And, it is a dangerous sport. It's a very challenging sport. So I really try to appreciate all those things that make the Indianapolis 500 so great, because you never know when it's going to go away for each and every one of us. It's very hard to stay in it and stay at this level. So, I try to soak it in because it's amazing.
Now, will you be more nervous lap 1 of the 500 or when your daughter takes the pole vault tomorrow night in sectionals?
I stay pretty calm when she's jumping. I'll probably be more nervous. The most nerve-wracking part of what we do is qualifying. The speeds are high. You're laying it all out there. You're, qualifying for the Indy 500. You're going out there fully committed. And that's either going to end up, with a really good 4-lap average, or the guy's fixing a car. So that's a stressful moment. But I trust McKenna. I trust all the work she puts in, and just enjoy watching her.
Shout out to the city title I believe she just captured here, and now sectional starting for her coming up tomorrow night. Again, Ed Carpenter's with us here. He'll have 3 cars in the 500. Again, practice starting tomorrow. You did a couple of laps around the track on Eclipse Day. Was that correct?
That's correct. We did kind of a simulated qualifying run, 4 laps at somewhat speed, and then we joined in the festivities of watching the eclipse. And I was kind of a little skeptical of the whole day, to be honest, but man, it was a great time. The Speedway did a great job, with all the partners in NASA and Purdue. I think they made for a really entertaining day, and the eclipse itself I enjoyed more than I anticipated.
When you say somewhat speed, what do you mean?
We were like 2:15, 2:17, so a little slower than we'll be in the race.
Oh,
but we did. We don't get to practice at the Speedway outside of May, So I think we basically did an out and in lap just to make sure there was no leaks in the car, and then went out and ran. So, we were being conservative. It was a green racetrack, and green meaning no rubber on the track. It wasn't actually green. And Yeah, just it's fast enough to entertain people that have never seen an Indy car on the track, but not fast enough to make me super excited about the potential.
Imagine 217 not making you super excited.
Someone's up on 465 doing 217,
Well.
I would imagine, as well. Ed Carpenter with us. Ed, how are you there at the end in a couple weeks? 10 laps to go. Ed Carpenter, how are you there? How are you there in the first few cars, if I played out that scenario?
Yeah, I mean, well, we think about that all the time. Really coming out of the final pit stop, which will be somewhere around 30 laps to go. You want to be, to me, really in the top three. As you get fourth, fifth on back, it gets harder and harder with every car you're back. So being in the top three is important in that moment. It's going to give yourself the best chance. And then it changes a little bit every year, depending on how the cars are racing, what the weather is, whether you want to, for those last couple laps, whether you want to be in the lead or if you want to be the guy sitting second. And some of the rules have changed a little bit. I'm sure you guys will hear more about that as we get closer to the race. But, we're going to be a little more limited in some of the movement that we'll be able to have coming to the finish, like what we've seen the past couple of years. So,
what do you think of that, Ed? Like, do you think they're really going to call penalties late in the race if the snake, I believe, in simplest terms, is implemented by the person in the lead?
They told us they would. We voted on it as drivers. None of us, just included, voted on it. I don't think any of us want guys moving below that white line. A lot of these drivers are so young, haven't been around the 500 long enough, but, there are some of us that have been around long enough to see people hit that pit attenuator, and it's not a cool thing. And we're kind of playing with fire with the way guys are moving around down there. So safety's always got to come first to an extent. So I do think IndyCar will call it. We talked a lot about it in our winter meetings. And there's boundaries. Like any sport, we don't have a review period yet, so it will be dramatic, but I think the way that we've laid it out is going to be simple enough. You can't cross that white line, which essentially breaking the plane of the pit wall, and I think that's the way it needs to be. I wasn't racing for the win last year, but I can't remember if it was the last restart or second to last restart. I was going up the inside and I was passing Marco, and then Christian Lundgaard came and got a run on me, but he was inside that pit wall. He didn't know Marco was outside me, so he started squeezing me up because he's going to run head on into the end of the wall, and I get squeezed in between the two of them, really nowhere to go. You shouldn't be down there if you can't continue in a straight line without running into a wall. So I think it's a good rule. I think everyone was pretty unanimous about it.
Ed, we'll end with this, and full admittance, it's kind of a nerdy question, but you talked about in your 2 decades running this race, just how close the field is now and the depth of the field, and it seems like strategy is obviously such a big deal on race day, and I think to a lot of fans, my hand is raised. I'm a bit of a novice when it comes to exactly what plays into strategy more than maybe other things. So if you were going to create a little pie chart here, whether it's fuel, whether it's tire strategy, whether it's track position, like what all goes into, and I guess what am I missing maybe, what all goes into strategy and how you with your 3 cars kind of deploy strategy throughout a race? Yeah,
I mean, the race has changed. Like I said, it's gotten much more intense, but the economy's gotten a lot better as well over the years. So, for the longest time, you do 6, 7, maybe 8 pit stops in the race. Now it's pretty much 5. The mileage has gotten better, but everyone will do some saving. When you're watching the race early on, you'll see a lot of passing at the front, guys trading positions, and they're not really wanting to necessarily pass each other all those times. It's more just the guy in the lead trying to save fuel, have an engine dialed back, and making sure they can hit that 5-stop number. It's 30 some seconds going down the pit lane with the pit stop. So, when you stop 2 less times, you're cutting over a minute off your race time. So as long as you're not going slow to the point that you're going to lose a minute by by staying out, then you'll do that. So there's some fuel consumption. Tires, you're not managing tires a ton. That kind of comes from managing fuel. So, you're really making sure you stay in that 5-stop window, and then just executing on all the little things from there, not making mistakes. As drivers, we can't make a mistake on a restart or start, jumping or pit lane speed penalty, blend line penalties, and then you're hoping and praying that your crew guys' practice and hard work pays off, and they have five fast and clean stops. It takes everyone that's working on the team being their best to win the 500. It's really hard to put yourself in that top 3 at the end of 500 miles if you've made any mistakes with how deep the competition is now.
Well, that cheer for Andrew Nemhard pretty darn loud on Friday night. I can assure you, if Ed Carpenter makes his way to the front late a week from Sunday, that cheer will be reminiscent of that over at 16th and Georgetown. Ed, always enjoy the insight, man. Looking forward to, I believe you're going to make a stop by with us on Carb Day, so greatly appreciate that. And have a safe month, and good luck to McKenna tomorrow night.
Thank you. Yeah, I know we're both looking at the weather hard for Tuesday, but his sectionals, they'll get it in eventually. So I just know, I know how it is. She wants to stay on her rhythm and her training schedule, and that means jumping on a Tuesday. So we'll be excited for her. Hopefully she can have a good meet and carry on to regionals.
Good luck, Ed. Thank you.
Thanks.